Last time on CiP.
Listen, I just learned that Nate thinks that anything matching is fancy.
This chick's crazy.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It's like the most unpopular opinion on the internet.
Uh-oh.
I do not like Friends.
But with him, he's just so horny. He's like, okay. Tonight's guest is Josh Peterson from West Des Moines, Iowa. He's the creator and co-host of the podcast Field of Geeks. You know, guy trying to get over, drugs, and then he gets thrown into the Wuxia genre. So
it's an alternative rehab experience. Yeah.
Right. Actually, it's not even that alternative. It's pretty much right on point.
The Wuxia.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We get right into it.
And
I can't let what Ari just said slide. She just said the Wu genre. I loved it.
The Wu genre. Nice. Wu genre. I love it. Perfect. So we're back in action for the Wu genre, and actually we're getting close to, which is 99% of my favorite parts and scenes in any movie or show. We're getting to the training sequences and the training time and the master and the apprentice and all that kind of stuff. Because obviously Alex doesn't know shit. He is a pampered, spoiled, guy from the 90s that looks like Tom Cruise, and he's been addicted to all kinds of other substances. And now he's been given the opportunity to go back to ancient China and actually have a skilled chairman / mentor / master teaching the ropes. So, Josh, now you mentioned you had some ideas. Do you have any ideas for how we can get going with this Act 2, more or less?
Yeah, well, regarding the monster character, right? I thought it'd be cool, like, since he's training the is it the chairman? I'm sorry, chairman, right? Or master, doesn't matter. Whatever I call him. Either one. The master, anyway, is like since this is like a little different from what I thought of like a long time ago. He's getting him ready to fight, but he's also educating him on this guy. It's kind of like Apocalypse Now. He's getting like a dossier, sort of, except it's verbal.
Oh, perfect.
It's verbal. Yeah. So as he's training, he's like training not just with strength and physicality, but also this guy. He's
mentally
understanding everything about him. Yes. Yeah. So he can get in his head, so he can defeat him. Either way. So yeah, I kind of like that idea. I don't know. He's basically also being briefed on a mission of sorts. So it seems like, last time we established the idea that in order to quote unquote escape the island or leave to come back to his own time or what have you, Alex would have to defeat someone on the island. Yes.
We can have it that in order to defeat this monster to go back, he has to defeat this monster to come back to his own time. And we're saying monster, we're being kind of generous with that term. This is the big bad, the monster, whatever you want to call it. The gatekeeper.
Yeah, he has like a ring tech as well. Not tech, but same type of power, but it's more. It's a different type of beast. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And you mentioned kind of the Highlander angle as far as both have rings, and whoever I guess kills the other or defeats the other gets that person's ring.
Absorbs the power. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we
like
definitely
have
return
it. Maybe. Yeah.
Where they can return it. And you could even have it if you wanted to go balls to the walls, whether you could have it the ring. Doesn't necessarily have to just go to people. It could be a different kind of a creature or being or just an animal, something else, whatever you want it to be. But there's something else. If we made it that it wasn't just a regular person, when the chairman is instructing him or teaching him or guiding him, he's trying to guide him in the ways of this isn't. You can't just think of this person as you can't think of this as a person. It's beyond a real mortal. It's something else.
Right. Together. Could be like a Gollum situation maybe too, if he wanted to do like he was human and then he just morphed into this thing because of the negativity or whatever. I don't know.
Yes, I saw Nate's goatee perk up when you said Gollum situation. Did you have something in mind there, Sergey?
No. I like that idea. I like the idea of having having this thing essentially corrupt them, and as time goes on, it kind of morphs into the monster character. I like that. So that's that.
I do too.
That was the perkage.
I'm stealing from everything, basically. That's.
I think it's fair. As long as we steal everything,
coming after us.
No one can come out. Yeah, as long as everyone's upset with us, then no one can be upset with us.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. Cherry picking the elements and throwing them together. Yeah.
Right, and then we can kind of put a deal, as Sergey and I always call the Yonkin twist. The Yonkin twist on this could be, as opposed to the ring corrupting him, making him a weaker, balder Andy Serkis mocap, it could be kind of, it makes it a bigger, prouder, stronger thing.
Exactly.
So it could have actually been that he was in fact somewhat of a man, somewhat similar. He could actually be the same thing as he could have fallen through time, just like Alex did.
What if what happens if you lose?
He's what happens if you lose. Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's a good point, Ariana. So what do I'm not sure with the lore, Josh. Do you have a scenario what happens when you lose? Because obviously he's not dead. It didn't kill him like Highlander, full-blown quickening, but something did happen to him when he lost. What do you have any rules established as to what happens to you if you're a loser in a duel?
Well, my original ideas were to get off the island, you had to battle, but not to the death. And whoever won that got to leave, and then you got to try again. It's like tryouts, right? Next year you'll try it. You'll try it again. Regarding the actual battle for life or death, it's pretty much Highlander rules I thought of anyway. Like if you lose, you die, and if you win, you just keep your status, and then someone else will come for you. Yeah.
Well, I had a thought. I'm going to steal from Wonder Woman 84. Not if you lose, if you cheat.
Ooh, nice.
Okay, yeah.
Nice.
I like that.
By the way, just with that one suggestion alone, I would say whatever you're coming up with, Sergey, is better than Wonder Woman 84. Just to put it out. But yeah, I like that idea. Mm-hmm. Is that he cheated. So one thing I'd like to do also, I'm not sure how familiar with Black Adam or the original Captain Marvel, Shazam's y'all are story. So Captain Marvel and Black Adam, he's called Shazam now, whatever. The Black Adam was a god who was corrupted by his powers over time. He came from a very thousands of years ago, like 5,000 years ago in ancient Egypt, but the power that wizard gave him corrupted him. It could be the same idea where our chairman, we've already established our chairman is kind of beyond time and space on some level. He may have, of course, given him the ring earlier. And like you guys said, he cheated. He cheated somehow with his powers and started doing things he shouldn't have been doing. We could have it also that he's already been using his powers. He's been cheating with them. And the cheating, of course, corrupted him. But also because he's been cheating with them, he's acquired more abilities or more powers or done more things. He's no longer just a man. He's something different because of what he's been through. He may have been on the island for a long time as well. He may have been getting much more powerful in weird ways and all kinds of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I like
so. A consequence, the first consequence, I guess you could say, of cheating would be to, of course, make you look more monstrous, make you look grotesque in some way. So he could look something. He wouldn't look like a regular person. Mm-hmm. We could also have it that if he may have also, because he cheated, he's no longer allowed to leave the island by normal. He can't do it essentially. However, all these guys that fall into this island essentially have to beat him in order to get to escape, and nobody's done it yet. Since he's been there, since he cheated, and since he's been stuck on that island, no one can beat him, and so everybody that goes up against him loses, and they may all the powers from their rings that they have that are unique to them may go to him essentially. Mm-hmm. So when Alex has to go up against him, he may have to go up against not just that our main monster, but pretty much all the powers that other ring users would have had essentially too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Okay. All right, we can go with that then. So I guess one thing we established with Alex's ring, we said last time that it gave him like a sword of some kind, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right. Mm-hmm. We could also kind of dabble in that a little bit more and say that ring is not just a sword. It could be like a special kind of a sword, or it could be something a little extra with that sword, or maybe give him another power too. Is there any other power you think that he could also possibly have by proxy of the ring or of the sword?
Like the sword has a power?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say, Ari?
Like the sword has a power?
The sword could have a power itself, yeah. Or
could be like a wand in a way. I don't know, like it could shoot off energy to power things or disable people. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, of course, it can form into something else, like cookware or something, if you want to be a chef. But
there's something more powerful than a spatula in a fight.
Yes,
I agree.
Right. He's like, I'm hungry. I need a hot plate, and boom. Yeah. But that's electric, so I don't know.
This is
it's getting too Swiss Army knife-ish.
No, yeah, that's not entirely a bad idea, though. What you say, sir? Say something?
Well, I was going to say, I kind of like the idea of, well, okay, so I had two thoughts, and I'll throw both of them out there, see which one you guys like. I like the one idea of just the ring itself, like being attached to the sword, then imbues the sword with whatever power the ring has. I think that would be an interesting take. So, like, if it's the fire ring, then it turns it into the fire sword, or the ice ring, the ice sword, or the the ring of mild nausea that it gives the sword of mild nausea. That kind of thing.
Right.
So there's that piece.
A good idea.
Now the other piece, the energy thing that you mentioned. So I was thinking Zelda Breath of the Wild. There's a certain power up that if you have the sword of the sword is.
The Master Sword?
Master Sword. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That sword, if you there's a certain power up that if you have no damage and you use it, it will blast a thing out from the thing.
Right.
So that's another thing.
Yeah.
Like obviously we can't really like do damage checking and that sort of thing, but like in the scene, damage check. But so those are my two ideas. Play with them.
No,
and do
those are perfect. I mean, obviously, you could hear Ari smile. You could hear like the Grinch and Christmas in the just Grinch Stole Christmas. When you say Breath of the Wild, you see her mouth is getting much bigger. But yeah, I definitely know that power you're talking about. That's not since the first, I think, Zelda game where when you're at full health and you swing the sword, it like shoots a light beam out of it, essentially, or energy beam out of it. That'd be a fun power too. I think the other thing you said, Sergey, is a perfect idea. Just in and of itself, each ring is unique or special, but based off of either an element or something like that. So his ring could be with fire, line two. He basically has a fire ring. All the rings will produce a sword or a weapon, but they all are in and of themselves are more or less based around an element or something else. So if he has a fire ring, he could have fire powers. However, the actual weapon he produces is a fire sword.
I have
like
an idea that you can, take or drop as you see fit. So the ring on the sword it's a ring pommel sword, so it's at the end of the hilt. What if it's only the ring that has the power? So if you detach it, the power comes with you, so you can put it on other weapons, but you can also wear it yourself, and that turns out to be the most powerful option.
Ooh.
Yes. So the ring cannot produce a weapon, but it can be put onto a weapon. So therefore, if you can learn if you yourself learn multiple weapons, you can have all of them imbue with it. Yeah.
But the last thing Ari said was if you put the ring on, then you get the power. So then
would you be able to, I mean, if you are imbued with fire, let's say, and you're holding a sword, would the sword also become fire because you are fire, or is it?
I think it would be like, so if the ring is on the sword and it's a fire ring, you get like a great flame blade to use a Breath of the Wild reference. But if you put the ring on yourself and you're holding a sword, you become Captain Marvel. You're just holding a sword.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah, let's go with that then, because we have to also think about how to defeat this monster. We have to give him some weaknesses or some ideas. I mean, I'm already seeing the idea. Of course, he has to. If this monster has 10 rings, go ahead, Nate.
Oh, I was going to say, and I don't know, Ari, if this is where you were going with this, but I think this may be the way to do it, is have it be that he knows that the ring is detachable, but he doesn't know that, like, he doesn't know particularly that when you put the ring on, then you get the power, you yourself. And that through the training and the chairman is basically like through some, good writing stuff. Ethan, you can come up with something. That he keeps saying this phrase, like, and then he realizes in the last fight when he's about to die because the Great Flame Blade is just not killing this monster. Oh, if I put the ring on, and he puts the ring on, and then he just Super Saiyans and
I see. Yes.
Death.
So we definitely need to set it up that way that he himself has yet to put the ring on and use it to turn on to flame on like Johnny Storm. However, you've seen him in the training montage. He keeps putting the ring on different weapons and different things, and they keep on flaming up, what have you. You even see him putting on the swords, and it's too hot for him to handle. He drops it or what have you, that kind of stuff. But like you said, the master keeps dropping hints like whatever wields the ring has the power, something like that. He keeps saying it over and over again. So then eventually, when he's in the battle with the monster, he realizes if I just put it on myself, I can flame on like these weapons I can't handle or something. So yeah, that can work great. I think. Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
I thought of something. If we still are using the wolf element at all with the ring, he can also communicate and have like reinforcements with the wolves. Like if he, I don't know if I'm going too forward, but like I picture him going to like New York to battle, right? And so even like if he's on chase by some of the monsters' reinforcements, if there are any, he can strap this ring to a car. And I mean anything, and it like amplifies it, makes it strong. Like our budget's going up, but I like the idea of like fourth acts. Yeah. Like he approaches a junker and he just places a ring on it, and he's like, "Let's go!" And the thing just transforms.
Puts the ring on the joystick.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But if there's like if they're separated, like he's the host still, I'd like to think, and the ring comes back to him, and maybe the ring has to choose a partner as well for him, to like tag team. Like you take the ring, like you can't just maybe give it to everybody. Like the ring has to find the right person, I guess. Something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I do like the idea of like you could place it on things, and it basically makes everything more powerful. Amps it up. Yeah. Human being, all that other stuff. But yeah, if we're still doing
I can see thing, we haven't introduced anyone in the real world that Alex is close to be a partner. However, I mean, we could explore that if need be. But I like the idea of him. We definitely do need to have a fourth act where like you said, Nate said earlier, he's a cheater. The monster's a cheater. By the way, I'm calling him Brando since you mentioned Apocalypse Now. So Brando, our monster, it has figures out he cheats again and figures out a way to actually enter back into, basically grabs Alex and is able to go back to Alex's time. As opposed to going to whatever time Brando's from, he goes into Alex's time. So he ends up in modern day New York because of that. And so the fourth act is him getting ready to wreak havoc, full-blown rampage style with the Rock on New York with all these powers. And of course, Alex has to defeat him somehow. And one thing I did think about that might help, based off of the character of Alex, and we did not define how he messed up in the beginning, the cold open. It could be that he is a drug user, he's a pusher, he's everything else, but he's also a bit of a pickpocket or something like that. He has very light fingers, and it may be that he's able to kind of pull an Iron Man. He's able to once he's able to get really close to this monster in the end, he's able to kind of take a couple of rings off of him and get a few more powers himself, and able to kind of level the playing field or something like that. He's able to literally steal a ring off of something. He's that quick with his hands, essentially. Right. Because something like that, because we have to find something that I wanted something that is in Alex's past of him being a kind of a loser to kind of give him an edge in this fight that you wouldn't ordinarily have.
While I like that, I think I'm not completely sold on that idea necessarily. I do kind of like the idea of Brando's like that he sort of absorbed the ring, like it's merged and there's no taking it on or off. He's just this monster now. So that provides kind of a roadblock for our hero here.
Can you think of a way for? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know if this is skipping too much ahead, but I always envisioned like the monster in this case, maybe he dissected some of his ring or power and he gave it to the individuals who are after Alex, who are going to kill them. And since they're not trained, it's like reckless power use. Like they're not quite skilled, but it's kind of like a mind screw to Alex because it's like trauma. Like these guys were going to kill them, and now the threat is big because they kind of have the same powers, but not really. They're manufactured more. Like, because you said, the monster's like a cheater. So if he's like, I need a little bit more help here, so maybe I can mess around with my power and try to, just kind of making a bad batch basically of soldiers that are not, 100%, but could be enough for Alex. They could defeat Alex just based off of the mentality of, their relationship before all of them had powers, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so real quick, let's touch base on a couple of things here, because we have a bunch of ideas swirling around. We got to make sure there's some kind of connective tissue to make sure these things line up. Because I like this stew. I want to make sure we have a bowl to put it all into. So first things first, we have it that Alex is working with the chairman, and the two of them are working together. They're training on how to get Alex to, like Nate said, the chairman has established that basically whatever wields the ring has the power. And we only see Alex putting the ring on different weapons and different things and trying to get better at wielding different weapons or other stuff with fire.
And one thing I want to throw in there, I kind of want it to be like, I don't want it to be like we're making it look like Alex keeps doing this stubborn thing and the chairman's just looking there and going, idiot. Like I want it to be that the chairman is training him for this, but and is telling him, yeah, no, put it on that hammer, put it on that, remote control, like put it on these things, and like kind of as a training thing, but always saying like, if you ever really get in trouble, just always remember whatever holds the ring wields the power. And just kind of like a, hey, this is the nuke, this is the thing that you just need to remember, but never explicitly states it, because he wants Alex to, he's like, you're a clever boy. Just you're a little dim sometimes.
No, yeah.
So that's
No, it's
maybe it's a Miyagi moment.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a Miyagi moment. Yeah, because it definitely, we show him trying, and he make it better with certain things. It may be that he's tried the ring on multiple different weapons or tools or whatever, and he kind of falls onto the sword. The sword ends, not literally, but he ends up the sword he picks up is the thing he can use the best, essentially. Mm-hmm. So even though he's not really good, he hasn't been too long of a time. He's been long enough to get decent-ish with this sword, this fire sword. But again, like Nate said, the master keeps saying, just keep in mind, whatever wields the ring wields the power, more or less. Mm-hmm. And then so we cut. So from there, we basically have it set that he's able to get strong enough to beat this Ubu character, the bad cop that was with the good cop chairman. And he pretty much, they say, well, I guess you're ready now to take on the monster to try and see if you can pass him. And Alex, of course, is anxious to do it so he can get back to his modern times. And he faces it off against the monster. And as we said before, that Brando beats him, or he beats him, or he cheats or something, because as opposed to, go ahead, Nate.
Oh no, I heard. Ari, do you have something you want to say?
Yeah, I was just about to say, what if? So he beats Ubu, and they're like, "Congratulations, you've won!" And then they're like, "But your real test has just begun." And then suddenly Alex is back in his real world with no idea how he got there. And then suddenly there's a monster wreaking havoc.
Wait, what?
Okay. I think because my idea I think could merge really well with your idea. My idea was going to be that not having the monster be the get back to your time thing, having the fight with Ubu be the get back to your time trick. Kind of basically like, if you can beat Ubu, then you are worthy, you can pass. And so they were going to then have him, then they were going to just go, and now here's your real test. Boom. But right as they say boom, like, or they say whatever, and he goes to get zipped back into the thing, the monster comes crashing through the wall and grabs him. And both of them get zipped.
Yes. We have to find some way to make sense of the monster getting back there. Yeah.
That would be how he would, the monster would think of, that's his only way out.
Exactly.
So of course he takes it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. That works well. That's perfect. That's a perfect. Josh, does that work for you as far as a loophole as to how the monster would escape the ancient China world?
Yeah. Like as you guys were talking about that, I thought like maybe it's like a universal communication, kind of like when you set up a fighting game, you select your opponent and then you hit start and then boom. So maybe it's something like that. Like, it's the master's like, it's been decided, and they send them both to the same location maybe. And something like that happens, like the battle begins, like it's game time basically.
What I was thinking, the way I was thinking, and Josh, if you would prefer to do it this way, that's fine. But I was thinking having it be where like the monster's kind of chilling in the background, and like nobody knows he's there.
On him.
Yeah, like the chairman doesn't.
Oh, sure.
And then the monster comes in, grabs him. They get zipped, and the thing is Alex is confused because he's like, "What the hell is this thing? I don't even know."
Yeah.
And so
I gotcha. Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
But
I like that. It's a misdirect. It's like Rocky training and Drago just breaks through the wall and grabs him and then takes him to Russia. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah, I like that. No, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, that works, man.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
And so they also, all that training montage and everything, it could go for several months. The idea is what you're expecting is that once you're a good enough person, the chairman will appoint you and say, you've been good enough. Now you're able to leave the island. It's as simple as that. However, and that's usually how it goes. Once you become a good enough person and you're able to handle yourself and everything like that, you're released from the island. It's like a prison of some kind. Like a rehab center, like you said, it's a rehab. However, once he does in fact defeat Ubu, his final challenge, like Nate was saying and Ari was saying, the monsters spy on him, and he pretty much just either grabs onto Alex, or basically the chairman opens a portal of some kind. Mm-hmm. There's a way that he transports Alex, and the monster hitches a ride on him. Mm-hmm. And they both get transported back. And the chairman, it happens so fast, he's not able to stop it from happening, essentially. Mm-hmm.
What if it's like this, like, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say it could be that there may be that one of the powers of this monster, one of the rings was basically invisibility or something like that, so you can't.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I like the idea of the monster, like, kind of maybe observing his training. And I kind of thought of a cool, like, comedic type of montage where Alex is trying to defeat Ubu, or is that his name?
Yeah.
Is that
we're just calling him Ubu. Yeah.
But it's like on those Mortal Kombat steps, and he has to run up the steps, and every attempt he just gets kicked back down. And there's points where he's like, "Can't you just come down here?" And then I just thought, with the transportation of the monster and Alex, I thought, wouldn't it be crazy where he finally defeats Ubu? And then he's like on his knees, and it's kind of like, you did it. And then the monster grabs him like, all right, you ready? Let's go. And takes him. Something like that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So yes. Yeah. And that's kind of what
that is basically what we're.
Yeah. It's pretty much what we're doing. Yeah. But there was one thing I did think about because we're talking about the idea it would be fun is if the monster, maybe they don't actually have an invisibility ring, but they have a ring that can change with their appearance. Mm-hmm. So it could have been that I mentioned last time there was a little girl, or we were talking how there's like a little girl or old person that's constantly trying to get the ring off of Alex's hand, and kind of for comedic relief. But it turns out that's actually been the monster the entire time. And even though he's of course playing around, or she's playing around doing that, once Alex does in fact beat Ubu, and he's all exhausted, he's staying there, then the little girl transforms into the monster and grabs him real quick. So actually, they were there the entire time. They actually were watching, observing everything, waiting for this moment to happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you drop your popcorn. I like it. Yep.
Right. And so full Kaiser say, spoiler alert. Okay.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So once that happens, then we get to the real act 3-ish, act 4, essentially, when they're back to New York. And like you mentioned, Josh, before, the idea that once Alex comes back, the mob or Yakuza or whatever it was that he pissed off, he may get transported right back around where they are, and they see him. But they see both him and the monster. And Alex manages to defeat enough Yakuza and run away or what have you, or something happens where he's able to separate himself, but the monster gives several members of the Yakuza either parts of the rings or whatever it is, and they're able to, like you mentioned, they have some powers themselves based off of what the monster gives them in some capacity.
Right. He's like experimenting with them. He's like, he doesn't care if they live or die. He's like, let me try something. I've been around for a while. Let me see if I can just manipulate my power. And yeah, it's reckless. It's like making Doomsday BBS style. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Have Jesse Eisenberg come in and voice it. Yeah.
We could definitely experiment with Doomsday. I'm not sure we can do it for Eisenberg style, but yeah, we can definitely have them experiment with them.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. No, that's perfectly fine.
Just the voice. Yeah. Just the voice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But he increases his ranks of his army of evil, essentially by using the powers he has in some capacity, whatever means that is. And as Alex manages to, by the skin of his teeth, escape this, and I guess because he originally he was transported from the museum. I guess he first stumbles. He's in the museum when all this happens too. So he's in the museum again, and as he's like leaving the museum, might see that the full-blown Ghostbusters 2 style, the museum is kind of glowing in a weird dark aura, essentially, as Brando and his army is getting bigger and stronger and everything else. And of course, Alex is freaking out because he has no idea how to take on an entire army by himself, more or less. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the idea that both of you guys are talking about the idea that he can do different things with this ring. He may start putting it on a car as the mob or mafia, whatever, these guys are running amok in the town of New York. Alex is doing the best he can to try and curtail them or beat them or fight them off. He may actually put it on a car, a flame car at times. He may put it on a stick. May put it on a dog. The dog may turn to a flame dog, and whatever it is he's doing everything he possibly can, fighting as much as possible. But they're still winning. It's one against many. And Alex has no idea really how to defeat them. But ultimately, he realizes the best thing he possibly can do is defeat the actual brain center. He has to take on Brando, take him down essentially. And so at this point, Brando may just be chilling in the museum. Like it's his throne room. It's his palace. And he's got all the mafia guys surrounding it, kind of keeping it secure for him, so he can just relax there.
I'm not the reason why I'm pushing back on the museum being like like Ghostbusters 2, Last Stand, is I just have it in my head, and we mentioned it last week, that like the museum, like when he comes back to the future, the chairman is there, and he's a high functioning member, the director, the head of the board, whatever, of the museum. And I like, for some reason I latched onto that idea because I really liked it.
Sure.
And I can't see the chairman allowing that to happen to his museum. So, so what I was thinking is maybe have like some other place, maybe the Yakuza's base, because I think there needs to be a place for Alex to regroup, because he's not like, I guess we could have him go back to his apartment, that sort of thing.
No. Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah.
So like I could see him like regrouping in the museum, like maybe he hid somewhere, and then the chairman shows up, obviously looking slightly differently. Yeah. He drops the, whoever wields the ring, wields whatever, and which makes him realize, the fuck, you the chairman, and then also have the chairman explain what really happened. So that way Alex can kind of be like, oh, okay, so you didn't mean for me to fight this guy in New York. This just happened. And this is kind of closing the loop. We don't have to have them full-blown, exposition dump all that stuff out, but it can be. Well, no, of course.
There can definitely be some subtext and things like that. Yes, yeah. But yeah, the chairman is definitely there. I like the idea you had that he goes back to the museum, because what it may be too is that in the museum there may be actually an image or a painting or a tapestry that looks like the ancient China that Alex was in for so long, for months or whatever. And he may actually pray to that, or may actually kind of talk to that tapestry like, I wish I was there again. I actually wish I spent so many months fighting to come back here, and now all I want to do is go back. I wish I'd never left. Mm-hmm. And it could be that that's when the chairman more or less shows up and kind of gives him this Miyagi speech and everything else. And it could be that that's the point where he says, like, I told you before that if you're able, whatever wields the ring wields the power. And he's like, well, I tried everything. I tried putting it on a car. I tried giving it to a dog. I literally tried everything under the sun. And he's like, well, did you ever try yourself? Mm-hmm. And he pretty much like, and that's kind of like you said, it kind of clicks in place for him. And he actually puts the ring on. He actually just kind of full-blown powers up, essentially. Or we may not even show it there, but you see his eyes glow.
I honestly, I like everything leading up to, I like the whole, like, you go get him, Tiger speech, but I like the idea of Alex, discovering, as he was meant to, putting the ring on himself by himself. Like nobody's telling him directly. Actually, what it could be is, So you know how he travels through New York, putting the ring on different things and using them that way. The reason why he may do that is because the sword itself gets destroyed. Like the monster destroys it upon entry.
Yeah.
And he only has the ring left, and he's like, what do I do? And then he's panicking, and then he puts it on different stuff because he remembers how it works.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it's only towards the end at the final battle that he realizes, I can just put it on myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's go full blown. That when he's coming back, when he's being transported through the, I see it kind of like in Thor Ragnarok when Thor and Loki are trying to go back up to Asgard, and then Kate Blanchett is chasing him up in the Bifrost essentially, and she kicks him out of it. I see that have something similar like that with Alex and the monster, where the monster grabs on when they're being transported back to Earth, to present time. He grabs a sword and just breaks it with his hand essentially, and then boots him out of the Bifrost into New York randomly, whatever. And like you already said, he's panicking. He's trying to put on everything he can, trying to find a substitute sword. Nothing works. And he doesn't actually end up in the museum. He doesn't start off in the museum. He works his way back to the museum. And once he's back to the museum, he starts talking to the tapestry, things that look like where he was. There is no one there. The chairman himself may not be there specifically, Nate, but it may be something, an image or a bust that looks like the chairman, and he may just talk to himself.
Well, no, I think the chairman should still be there. But I do agree with Ari that I don't think the chairman should give the bread. Like, I think it should still be kind of breadcrumb-ish, but not like, it's you're the one. Just put it on your damn finger, Junior. Like, I don't think it should be that.
Well, here's the thing. The chairman is there, but he's not. It's still another gotcha. So say it looks like a janitor or somebody else that's there in the museum. And this guy was there the first time too. Mm-hmm. We didn't know. It's a situation where it's a misdirect. Mm-hmm. This janitor was there the first time Alex ran in through there, and this janitor is there again another time. Yeah. He may not give them much information. He may just say, just figure out on your own or something like that. But he's there again, watching Alex as he's praying to images of his past, to the images of ancient China. And then, like you said, he does think back to his own memory, and he thinks about what was the right thing to do.
How about this? So he gets yeeted back to the museum, right where he disappeared, reappears, regardless of, does time pass, or is it sort of, he's back in the moment that he disappeared?
I kind of like that.
Possibly. It doesn't, it could be the exact same time. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I like that because then the mafia guys will still be there.
Right.
But this time the monster suddenly appears with him and proceeds to wreak havoc and co-ops the mafia guys. But obviously the chairman is there as well, whether he's a reincarnation or like the actual chairman. What I'm thinking is maybe Alex and he escaped the museum immediately because there's no fucking way. And then the monster does like the Hela thing from Thor Ragnarok, where he just completely takes over the museum and like he finds this, I don't know, ancient Egyptian throne room or something, and just like instills himself on the throne, and commands his lackeys out. And the rest of the film or the story is Alex trying to escape those lackeys and get back to the museum to finally defeat the monster.
Well, so here's the thing. That's why I was saying when he comes back to the Bifrost, he doesn't end up in the museum because the main thrust of the fourth act is him trying to get back to the museum. If he first Bifrost into the museum, then he runs out of the museum, then comes back to the museum, it's kind of a bit of a runaround. It's kind of want to just cut the middleman out.
Josh had a good idea earlier that I kind of liked is when he comes back, because he got chased into the museum originally, and that's and he comes back and the bad guys are still there, and he, because of the craziness of the attack and all of that and it essentially just zips him back to pre time travel. Holy crap, I'm gonna die. And he kind of just momentarily kind of forgets forgets everything and just kind of just runs. And because the monster's there too, the bad guys are like, monster, and they run. And so that's how he's able to escape, and he's able to get out of the museum. And then he works his way when he realizes, like, when he gets a little bit away and he collects himself and he figures out and he goes, okay, no, I got to get back. I got to stop this guy. Like, when he starts putting 2 and 2 together, then he heads back and then he can fight the bad guys. Then he can fight.
I push back against that because it is, again, it's a waste of time. 1 and 2. Why would he have amnesia?
Let me push back against your pushing back. I think I'm not sure I like the amnesia thing necessarily. I do like the immediate panic of everything's wrong and I need to get away right now.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't mean amnesia. I don't mean amnesia. I mean like because what happens like how many times, and you know, when you've been in a really scary fucking situation, your brain blanks. Like your brain can blank and you can forget everything. Like and like you know who you are, you know what you can do, but you might be able to forget the exact thing you need to know in that moment, and that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, and, like it's like Sorry,
I was just going to say.
You're fine.
And Ethan, while I get where you're coming from, it's like it's a well-worn sort of action adventure trope where something terrible happens in this one spot, then the hero escapes, and their entire journey is getting back to that one spot to defeat the evil. I mean, it's pretty. It's fine.
The thing is, this is what I said forever ago, and then Nate said, "Let's not do the museum." So, are we doing the museum now? Is that? I mean, Nate, you wanted to go a different place before. Remember? You wanted it to be like a different.
I did, and I admit I would prefer not to have this, but I'm not like if we want to, if the group wants to, because Josh also seemed like he liked the idea, so I'm
okay.
I kind of threw it out there.
We have 2 options.
Okay.
One. The monster stays in the museum after arriving and Alex has to get back to him, or 2, they both leave and there's a rampage across New York.
So it seems like, I think the best way is like you guys said, they do come back. The time doesn't really pass in our time, in our world, modern world. It's almost the exact same moment. So Alex gets zapped back to the exact moment as his hand is being held up and the mop is right in front of him again. And as soon as he does that, also what happens is the monster's also zapped with him right there next to him as well. And there's a big, huge kerfuffle. And during the kerfuffle, Alex escapes the museum, just runs from the museum, kind of freaking out, trying to make sure he gets away from everything. And during that freak out, the monster grabs the Yakuza or Mafia, whoever they are, makes them his minions, gives them powers, and starts taking over the museum, makes it his palace. Cool? And then, like you said, Nate, or Josh and Ari, all you guys were saying, then once Alex is away from the museum, his brain kind of recollects himself. He's trying to get everything under straight, everything under control, because again, we forgot. This is also the first time that Alex has actually seen the monster. He has no idea what that thing even is. He may have been told about it by the chairman, but he didn't actually fight it on the island. He has no idea what it even is. So he's freaking out. He's actually afraid of it, essentially. Then he realizes he's the only one that can do anything with it. But again, his sword was broken. The thing his Dumbo's magic feather is gone. So he's really freaking out because of that too. So while he's trying to get his bearings back, his confidence up again, this monster in the museum, Brando, is taking over the museum and getting more power. His minions are running around in New York doing their thing. And eventually, Alex comes to his senses and tries to start using the ring on other stuff, trying to fight them back. He's doing okay. He's doing okay having it on like a car or a bow staff or nunchucks or whatever it is. He's doing okay, but he's nowhere near strong enough. And he realizes the only way to actually stop it is to stop Brando. And Brando is the key, essentially. So we have him making his way back to the museum. He may even take a fire car and bust a fire car into the museum, trying to get around the guards. And once he's back in the museum, he actually sees the exact spot he was transported from. He may actually have a chance to actually kind of pray to it at the shrine. Like, I don't know what to do. I wish you were here, Chairman. I wish you could help me. And we could have a full-blown, like Frodo talking at the end of a Fellowship, where he hears Gandalf's voice. All of a sudden, it cuts back, and he hears Gandalf's voice saying, "So do all who wish, or so do all who live through such times. And all we can do is cherish the time we have. Yada yada yada." He just hears the chairman's voice in his head, essentially, and that's when he feels the magic, he feels the glow, and he decides to put the ring on his own hand. And he flames on, essentially, for the first actual time. Is that where we're kind of all on that same page?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. All right. Now, the fun stuff is actually how does he actually take on we haven't come up with a way for him to how he would actually defeat the monster. Because the monster, we said he basically has multiple rings or at least multiple powers. Do we have any idea or solutions as to how he could fight this guy?
See, this is the difficult part.
Yeah.
Now we have to reverse engineer our way out of this mess.
Yes, this is the hard part. I agree with what you said. I don't know that him simply doing an Iron Man stealing the rings off his hand would work at this point. He may be too far gone for that. He may be too powerful for that trick to work. But there has to be something. If Alex is one small person against a powerful monster, David and Goliath style, his tactics have to be different.
Well, the one thing that he can do that the monster can't is take off the ring.
Right.
So he's got versatility on his side.
Right.
Whereas the monster only has its body.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could also we could establish what powers the monster has. Clearly the monster does not have fire. Because obviously if Alex has that power on his side, it's the one ring he doesn't have. He can't wield fire. So he also could have it that we could give him a weakness to fire in some capacity, or figure out something that Alex is, because Alex is so strong with fire, he's immune to heat and things. Figuring out he could use that to his advantage as well.
So what about ice?
So ice. So you're saying if the monster is trying to use ice against him, that's not working, or he's...
No, just because, rule of opposites. If Alex has fire, then a nice narrative and aesthetic opposite would be kind of like the Snow Queen, the White Queen from Narnia, where like the monster's goal is to just make everything a winter wonderland and, rule it that way. I don't know.
Nice. Yes. We could give him that aesthetic, essentially. Yeah, we could lean into that. We could lean into him having a literally colder and also kind of overall icy aesthetic. That's his thing. His main power he latches onto is ice and kind of sterile, metallic, those kind of things.
It could be weather power too, if you want to go in that territory as well. Yeah. Like he could make little tornadoes and throw them against things, and lightning or whatever. Of course, that gets kind of into fire in a way. I don't know. Maybe that's how they collide. I don't know.
No, the lightning and fire are still separate. Yeah. So he can definitely lean into pretty much create essentially a storm. With all the powers that the monster has, he can create a storm. And it could be that Alex, all he has is fire. And he's able to maybe create enough heat and make himself rise, which makes him kind of fly, like Johnny Storm style, essentially, to combat him in some capacity. And he can also, I guess, if he's able to burn bright enough, he's able to punch through the ice boulders that are being thrown at him. In Zelda Breath of the Wild, I know you guys know this, you go up against those four, I'm actually can't remember what they're called, the four tower gods, essentially, that when you beat them, you get their powers. What are they called?
Ganons.
Yeah, those little Ganon type things. One of them I know, if he creates these giant ice boulders and throws them at you, essentially. It could be that the monster, that Brando's or something like that, he's creating giant structures of ice, giant structures of lightning and everything, and throwing them at Alex.
Oh, hey, here's an idea. Instead of the ice thing, forget what I said. I'm an idiot. What if the monster's whole thing is, it doesn't really matter what powers he had before he was punished for cheating. Now his powers have become like corruption because he has been corrupted, and his goal is to corrupt. But one of the things that combats disease is like fire. You can eradicate disease with fire.
Burn off leeches and stuff. Yeah.
You can purify things.
Yeah. Yes.
I like that.
So it's so it almost kind of comes down to purification versus corruption more so than fire versus ice.
Basically.
Which
I think is a little bit more of a deeper parallel.
Well, also it works with the whole idea that Alex was a junkie. I mean, not junkie, but he was addicted to drugs and things like that. He was, like I said, this is called Rehab. What's it called? The title?
Wuxia Rehab.
I'm beginning to wonder if it's even a bit at this point. Like,
No, I honestly can't. I always forget how to pronounce it properly. But the title of the movie obviously applies to the situation. So Alex is trying to use. It's the whole idea is him coming full circle with being purified. The island purified him, got him over his addictions and things like that. And the corruption, the Brando monster is all about corrupting things. So that can also extend to the idea that he's able to rust metal or break things down and transmute them essentially. It's because he's corrupting things how they're supposed to be essentially. So he's using all kinds of things like that to do these things. And it could be that when Alex hits them, he's able to kind of not necessarily restructure them properly, but he's able to kind of get through them because he's burning bright, purified fire, holy fire or whatever, something like that.
Sure.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have to be just regular old fire. It can be light,
right?
Just pure, magic, good purification light and stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure
it looks like fire, but it's actually burning bright light. Because for the first time, the fire looks different, and it's actually holy light fire or light fire. Yeah. And so that's kind of it. So basically the idea is once Alex is able to achieve this Super Saiyan glow and actually get to this corrupted person, this corrupted god, he's able, I guess he could go full blown, Aang and just touch his head or hold on to his head essentially. And while he's holding on to his head, it kind of melts away the golem structure that is around him, the whole messy, murky, monstrous thing. And you see the actual real person below.
What if here's an idea of how to defeat him? What if he allows himself to be corrupted and consumed or eaten, and then he burns him from the inside?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's reversed. He actually grabs onto him. The monster grabs onto him, and he actually
it works because of his past with addiction. He's fought that corruption before.
Right. He's fought. This is what he's dealt with. But he's been all those months dealing with withdrawal and he had to feel this stuff before.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, and it could be actually that's the real final way we see this is we see Alex inside, almost like he's in a kind of cave inside the actual corrupt monster, and he's actually talking to him like, I know where you are, I know what this is, I've been here, I've lived here for so long that it won't beat me again, and he burns bright from the thin, and he kind of pops out, explodes out. Yeah. Perfect.
And what if instead of killing the monster, it just purifies him, so he's back to normal.
He's still an actual person. Yeah. And then Alex Alex, it could get kind of corny, but the idea is, and he says the monster Brando could say, "Can you help me?" He says, "Of course, I'll be your sponsor," or something like that. I mean, don't have to go that
hardcore. Is so cheesy. I refuse.
I know, but it's the idea. That's similar to what it is that he's helping him. Like he knows what. It's
right. I think it should just be. It should just be like he burns him, and then the goodness is revealed underneath.
Yeah, but I do want to see them later on in the future. The two of them sitting down, just having coffee and talking. Kind of the idea.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's a similar idea where he's like, Brando was like, it feels weird not being, it feels weird not having what I once had. And he's like, I know what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's the imply, it's the subtext.
What if M. Night just spoke to me, and so I was thinking, what if when he gets purified, it's the bad cop from the island that actually trained him, because it's in the past, so like time's kind of like all over the place. Like what if he was training him to take him out? Like it was I don't know, some kind of twist there.
He already defeated Ubu though, right?
No, okay, wait. Yes. I think I know where Josh is going with this. Do you mean that is this like Ubu was bad, was the monster, he purifies him, and then Ubu goes, thanks, and then the chairman comes in and goes, thank you, you gave me my bad cop back, and then zips him back to even way before, Alex shows up. So that way we've got the full...
I mean, it's kind of like it's always been. It's like a circle. I don't know. It's yeah, it's really crazy. I don't know. It was just like a twist I thought of, but I don't know how to explain it too well.
No, I think I know what you're going for. I don't think it quite works because the person he directly dealt with in that time period was Ubu. It doesn't quite add up there, but I see what you're trying to go for. Well, but it doesn't quite.
It does, but it's you have to think a lot to get there, and yeah. I think it's
maybe a stretch.
Yeah.
What if it's Ubu's brother?
Much.
Yeah.
What if it's Ubu's brother?
I mean, the thing is, it can be. It just doesn't have to be. It can be.
It could be, but then we would have to go back and
we have to go back and establish. Yeah, we have to. Yeah, that's the thing.
Right.
It can just be just this guy, and it could be.
Yeah, I think it was just a random.
Just for this.
Right.
Or
I just play around with. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
No. You go ahead. You spoke first.
No, I'm sorry. I just thought. Yeah, the way to explain it is like maybe they all go back to where he trained, and he like talks to Ubu, and he's like, "You are actually training me to defeat your brother if you go that route," and he's like. Yeah, but you did something even greater than I can imagine. Like I got my brother back, and I don't know, something like that. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. What you were saying?
We could do that. But like I said, it would have to be. You would have to set it up. You'd have to have a conversation with Ubu, and you'd have to be like, you'd have to have the character show you like portraits or tapestries or something from where when he was training to be like. My brother died or blah blah blah, because otherwise it's just completely random.
It's just too. It's a bit too much like M. Night, where it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Good.
Well, I was just gonna say, like we could like that kind of stuff could be added. You know, like if we wanted to go that route. But another idea I'd had is have Brando be a woman. And have Brando be the adult version of the little girl that was trying to cut off the ring earlier on in the story that Ethan was talking about. So that way it's, so kind of like throw that in there maybe.
Wait. So are you saying that the little girl wasn't the monster in disguise the whole time?
No, she was. And she was the monster and she was the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying
like the monster used an alias.
So the final test that the chairman had was for Alex to defeat him as the monster.
No.
I'm trying.
Remember when you said before that the monster was he was living in disguise and secretly watching, and one of its disguises was like a little girl or the woman who kept being like, "I'll cut your hand off." So what if that is just the monster? Still in disguise, but at the end, like she turns back into that form. Only it's like her actual real person form.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So the monster was charading or pretending to be that character. I see. Yeah. Okay. So yes, there actually was a real person that the monster took the form of, and then when the curse is lifted, that's who the real person becomes. Or yes, I think I have it. This story got bananas crazy in the best way, but I do enjoy it. So ultimately, it was a lot of fun working on it. I think however we decide to have it end, it'll end. There'll be some way we will reveal that the chairman was someone in the present in some form, whatever it might be. It'll make sense. In the end, it may be that Ubu's brother was the one that was lost. It'll make sense in the end. These details,
or Ubu's sister.
These details get crazy. So, but yeah, ultimately,
we'll fix it in post.
Yeah, we'll fix it in post.
Mom, there you go.
We'll just say that it works and that it'll work. That's how it works.
Yes, exactly. Ultimately, we'll fix it in post. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But it was a fun story. Very, very, very fun story. Thanks again, Josh, for bringing Alex to us.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure thing. Yeah, it was fun. We took in new directions I never thought of. So that was cool. Yeah, it's like being part of a writer's room or something.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is like.
And also feel free to, like, when you go to tell the story, throw all of this out. Like, feel free to just be like,
this is just an alternate universe that we're using.
Like,
it's a writer's room.
If you like it, roll with it, run with it, be free with it.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. No, I do like it. Yeah, I do like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't want lawsuits. So I'll have to call you guys up.
For the lawsuits.
Well, hey, as long as my name's on it, as long as our name's on it, we'll be fine. But seriously, like, any, if you want to take parts of it and not other parts of it, just fine. Just don't feel.
Yeah, like, it's definitely made. Oh sure, yeah, it's definitely put my mind into other places regarding the story, and there's so much you could do with it. Yeah, it's made it bigger actually. Mine was just kind of a simple remake, kind of a Highlander in a way, rooftop battle at the end. But yeah, this whole museum thing is something new, and the ring doing other things other than just being a part of them. It sells a lot of toys, so it
does. And in the end, that's all that matters.
Yes.
We're here to make toys.
Yes,
exactly.
So that's a pretty good place for us to take a stop. So before we go, does anyone have anything they want to bring up, talk about, chat about before we wrap this up?
And not for me.
Real quick, I'd just like to say that the Echelon graphic novel store is restocked. We have books galore. They're back. We do not quite yet have any of the floppies of Slade and Ash 2 through 5, but we do have a few copies of number 1. So if you wanted to buy that, you definitely can get going, or you can buy the trade. But we have all of the other books. Divine Influence, Ipswich, Blackmore number 1 and 2, and Scream Boy. They're all in there. And feel free to grab as many of those as you like.
Yes. Buy all of them. So Josh, I did want to thank you again for joining us. It was great having you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Is there anything you want to plug, talk about, anything like that before we end it?
Field of Geeks Network, podcasts, movie commentaries, Supernatural. We dabble in a bunch of things. So, been 5 years strong mostly. And, I hope to continue. So, I've met a lot of great people, like most of you here. Missing one, but we'll get you on. No, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we recently we've talked about WandaVision and some other things. So we're located pretty much any streaming platform, YouTube, all that. So
awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. We'll definitely have you back, Josh.
I'd love to.
With Steve too. We want to get both you guys on the show.
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would
be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Excellent. Yeah, I look forward to it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel and our Twitch channel for more CiP shows. We have Noobs in Progress, The Hardest Thing You Will Ever Do, Loose Cannons, FDS, and much more. So be sure to check out all of those places. Be sure to like, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and thank you again. And y'all have a wonderful day.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.